In 2 days from now, actually, in exactly 48 hours, votes will be being counted for the presidential election in the United States. Um, I follow politics very closely. I've always sort of done that since I really got into politics. I think it's an incredibly interesting subject. This that I'm doing right here is going to be my prediction. I am going to be basing this not off my personal opinions. I'm going to do my best to not interject them as much as possible and just give you what I think will happen, regardless of what I think should happen. You can see the candidates there. Trump and Biden are the only ones we care about. I put the Green Party and the Libertarian Party on here for fun. Um, I guarantee you they are not going to win a single state. They're not. Literally, they're going to. I'm sorry, but third party candidates do not exist in the United States presidential elections. They just don't. But that's a separate argument. So, this is the Electoral College map. I don't need to explain this. I'm not going to be the one to do it. So, these states here are just going to go to Trump. By the way, I'm not doing like, oh, this state is going to go here by an X margin, because I don't really care. I am predicting final results. These states here, I do not see Biden ever being able to flip. And same way with these states I'm coloring here. It's not happening this election unless, like, this is like Reagan level landslide on somebody's turf. Like, none of these states here are going to be flipping at all. Like, I guarantee you the states that I'm coloring will go the way they go. Again, unless some like strange miracle happens for one candidate or another. So, I'm not going to be explaining the intricate details of all this because I don't have time for that, and I talk way too rambly to actually get anything across. So, the uncolored states, which I forgot, South Carolina. Trump's not losing South Carolina. These are the states that are just going to go this way. The states that are uncolored are the states that have a reasonable chance to maybe be won by one side or another. I left Texas on here because everybody goes, Texas is gonna go blue, and they said that every year. It it hasn't, and I'm gonna say right now, Texas is not. It's not going to go to Joe Biden. Joe Biden's comments about the oil industry, and generally Texas is conservative in nature, even though they might be becoming demographically changed. It's not going to change, at least in this election. If that happened, my jaw would be on the floor, and I would say that Biden would win, even if he hadn't won any other state, because if he can win Texas, then he could win literally anything else in this field. So, let's moving on to Arizona. I feel like Trump is going to be able to retain Arizona. It will be closer than in 2016, I believe. I just don't see it happening, Arizona. Maybe in 2024 and beyond. But Biden, in my opinion, is a bit of a weak candidate to do that in Arizona. Really, he's just running on I'm not Trump and COVID-19, which say what you will, but he hasn't really said too much else that matters in terms of policy. And to be fair, Trump hasn't really said what he'll do if reelected either. He's just like, we'll make America great again, which is really a dumb slogan, but I mean, Biden doesn't even have a slogan. Well, I mean, he does. He has like 4, but nobody knows them. Like, I didn't even know he had them until I looked them up, because I'm like, you don't have any, Biden, what? Anyway, the same thing goes with Nevada. It might be closer, but I see it remaining with Joe Biden. Now, looking at states that matter a bit more, not that these states don't matter, I believe all the states matter, but the election is going to be decided really in this little stretch here. This is going to decide the election. But we're going to start down here in Florida. Trump is so confident that he will win Florida that he has pulled advertising out of Florida and invested it in Minnesota. We'll talk about Minnesota in a second. Florida traditionally goes for the incumbents. if you look even in like Miami County, I believe like their voter registration is like going through the roof with Republicans, which is insane. I think Trump will win Florida. Florida is always a tough fight, but if Trump is pulling advertising out, I don't think it's because he's running low on money. I think it's because he literally doesn't see Biden winning it. With Georgia, again, it's the same way. Georgia is a conservative, generally state. It's probably the closest of the South to turn. I'd honestly see Georgia flipping before I'd see Florida flipping in this election, but I don't think it will happen. The same with North Carolina. Trump has a really strong base in North Carolina, and in like this area, this is Trump country. With Virginia, Biden's probably going to keep that. If we're being like honest and realistic with ourselves, Virginia, it might come close, but Biden's keeping that. Now, let's look up into New England here. We have New Hampshire, which came kind of close in 2016. Trump can win New Hampshire. I believe that he has a shot. But I'm just going to say that Biden's going to get it, because I'm trying to be realistic. It might be close. The same thing with Maine at large. I think Biden will keep that. But Trump will still have the support he has in northern rural Maine to carry that second district and that one vote. So right now we're pretty neck and neck, but that's because we haven't decided the important states. Now, let's look first at Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania really, it's kind of going to decide the election. A few days ago, Trump held a rally, and he didn't have 10,000 people show up. He had 57,000. 57,000. How many people were at Woodstock? Let's find this out. I'm really curious because I actually don't know. I don't think it's more, maybe. 400,000. Okay, nowhere near Woodstock. Excuse me. Either way, that's a big amount of people. 57,000 to see a political candidate? What? With Biden's comments about the oil industry and the fact that in, I believe, Pennsylvania, they actually, after the third debate, said, "Can I change my vote?" That was on Google search terms. I think Trump will be able to carry Pennsylvania, and that already puts him really close. Same thing with Ohio. I don't see Biden winning that, and Trump is already at 274 in this prediction. So really, even if Trump can just keep most of the states he won in the first go-about and just keep Pennsylvania, then he's already won. He doesn't even need Michigan, Wisconsin, or Minnesota. And if you notice, I haven't put any states on here that Trump hasn't already won in 2016. Literally, this is very, very... Biden has a tougher shot at winning than Trump does, just by looking at enthusiasm and just generally what states are going to actually be capable of flipping. And this is my prediction. A lot of these states I'm coloring are going to be close fights. Arizona's going to be close. Pennsylvania's going to be close. Florida's going to be sort of close. Ohio's not going to be, it's not going to be like Oklahoma. It's going to be a little bit of a fight. But I just don't see Biden having any sort of advantage. Same thing in Iowa. Trump held an event in Iowa today. I feel like Iowa, even though it's like always a toss-up, I feel like it does lean conservative, at least nowadays. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Minnesota. With Minnesota, with the governor basically blocking or trying to block Trump's rally, which was, I don't know. They say it's for COVID, which is okay, fair. I believe they let Biden do a rally because they didn't expect there to be that many people, which again speaks about Biden's enthusiasm. Minnesota could go either way, so could Michigan. But I feel with Trump's constant attacks about Biden's comment about the oil industry, and I bring that up so much because the oil industry does employ a lot of people, whether it should be or shouldn't be there is its own question. But if you work in the oil industry, there's a 99% chance that if somebody says they want to transition off the oil industry and ban fracking, then you're going to vote with your job to keep your job. So I think that in the end, Trump will be able to pull off all three of these states. They could go either way, but that's just, oh my God. That's just my prediction. Oh my God. So, if the election goes Like, I think it will. Trump will win his re-election campaign with 316 electoral votes to Biden's 222. That is a 10-point jump from the 2016 win. The only thing that changes from 2016 is Minnesota going into the Republican column. That's literally it. Minnesota actually came within, like, a couple thousand votes last time. So it's definitely not out of the picture. There was one prediction that had Trump winning Colorado, New Mexico, Nevada, Oregon, New Hampshire and Virginia, and Maine at large at 362. And I'm like, I'm sorry, no. If that happens, I will, like, be crying in, like, confusion, because that is really insane. And in the same way they have Biden winning basically, like, this entire half of the country, and that's not going to happen. This is going to be a closer race. I feel that if Biden wins, he will probably be under 280. If Biden did win, he would have to keep Hillary states, so that would mean keeping Minnesota. He'd have to be able to flip back Pennsylvania and Michigan, and then something else. And really, you have to wonder, where is he going to get those votes from? You could say if you flip back Maine's 2nd district and Nebraska's 2nd, then he would be, like, right at 270. But I wouldn't bank on Nebraska for him. I just wouldn't do it. It wouldn't be something I would see happening. If he flipped back Wisconsin, he'd win, or if he flipped Arizona, he would win. But out of these 3 states, Wisconsin is the least likely, I believe, to flip back into the Democrat column. It's rather a rural state, a little bit. And Arizona, really, if Biden wins, he'd have to flip Arizona. But flipping Arizona would be difficult in this election, I think. So Biden would have a tougher shot. This is not me saying that this is the way it should be. This is just me saying this is the way that I feel it will be. Oh, also. Oh, okay, this is a bit of a problem for you here. So, if Biden keeps the 2016 states that Hillary got and flips back Pennsylvania and Michigan, and either gets Nebraska's 2nd or Maine's 2nd back, we have a 269-269 tie. That means that the president and vice president are decided by Congress. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that to happen. So, this is, again, a random video. After the election, I plan on making a video just discussing whether or not I was right. Like I said, sorry, Libertarians and Green Party, you're not getting any votes. No, I'm sorry, you just won't. Not in this decade. I'm sorry. But yeah, this is not turning into an election channel. I'm not going to be doing this all the time. I'm literally doing this because this is the craziest year, and why not show a different side of myself? So there we go. I think Trump's going to win. I'll let you decide whether he should, and I encourage all of you who are eligible to vote for whoever you think should win, and to get educated on what you care about so that you can know what will be the best for you and yours. Okay. I'm also not going to listen to this. I'm just going to post it and hope I make somewhat coherent sense.